Thank you very much, Les Concorda. The proposed legislation aims to limit An Taisce's influence in Ireland's planning and development process, especially in rural areas. It seeks to remove An Taisce as a prescribed authority under the Planning and Development Act to address delays caused by their objections, which have impacted housing and economic growth. The goal is to streamline the planning process, reduce bureaucratic delays and ensure taxpayer funding isn't used for legal challenges that delay projects. The legislation encourages the public to support, promote rural development and address the housing crisis. And I presume that's going to go the same as myself and my colleagues here. Every day of the week people come into my clinic, when I have my clinics there, especially the weekend I should say, and they're fighting people that are objecting to their planning permissions, whether it is their farm premises or if it's their building of a house, and it causes serious upset to a lot of young people that are trying to get off in life. And you know, when I look at, I believe that if An Taisce is to be allowed survive, it survives on its own membership. But to think that the state funds them. It says here, core funding is a grant from the government. So the government in this country are funding a body to object to people's planning, causing serious misery. And obviously, there's, you know, for big companies that are out there, there's, you know, there's a lot of progress trying to be made in this country, and to have An Taisce have the power over them to basically stop the planning. We have to look at this and have to see how the government in itself find themselves having to grant aid a body like that. If they can't stand on their own 2 feet, it says it all, doesn't it? And, you know, there is people that are serial objectors and they do want to end up inside in a group like this. And that absolutely, because they have probably a very strong function in this country in ways, but unfortunately the wrong people end up in the wrong place. But you have just like, in relation to people trying to get off the ground and get going in this country, it's becoming an impossible situation. It doesn't matter if it's An Taisce, it doesn't matter if it's Iscair, it doesn't matter if it's the EP, it doesn't matter if it's the OPW. They're all unquestionable bodies in this country that have literally very strong control. You look at Iscair, like the state continues to pour mass amount of money into Iscair, and no accountability. I look at a sewage system that's leaking down in Shannon Vale down in Clonakilty. 29 years leaking into a local green area that was meant to be for children, and leaking into the open river where people are drinking water. 29 years and no accountability. I asked the EPA I asked Iscair, and of course they're telling me we might do something in the next 5 years, kick the can down the road. I asked the EPA, give me the report for the past 29 years. No, they can't furnish me a report because they haven't got a report, I presume, because they surely would have furnished it. Dunmanway, raw sewage seeping into the river there, and they can't develop, and they can't even build one house. Not one house in Dunmanway because of the situation it's in. Rosscarbery, people telling me they're drinking raw sewage, young children swimming there drinking raw sewage, and all I hear is we need further scientific evidence. That's the kind of system we have in this country where there's no accountability. So whether it's An Taisce or Iscair, there's little difference. They get money from the state and they can do what they like and they get away with it. You look at Goleen, 25 years raw sewage pumping into the tide. No question, no answers. I asked the same question, maybe next 5 or 10 years, we don't know. You look at Ballydehob, 10 years raw sewage pumping into the water. So each and every one of those, there is no accountability here in this country. So you hand out money without even batting an eyelid, and you don't seem to understand. So when it comes to An Taisce, we need to make sure that that body is streamlined. We need to make sure it's not funded by the state again. That's number one, where it's hugely important as far as I'm concerned. And if it is continuously funded by the state, we need absolute and utter governance over how that money is being given, who's giving it out, who's approving it. Are they members themselves? But if they are approving it and they're in government, well, that's a serious issue. You know, all the organisations that come before me, I'm a member of farm organisations, the ICSA and the IFA, but they get no money from the government. And they stand up and fight for the people. So this is where we need to go with, in relation to this motion. And there's lots of other issues, you know, like I said, accountability with the OPW, accountability with so much out there at this present time. There's a lot of money being pumped around this country with little or no accountability.